I'm Dana Moriello, and you're listening to This Is a Thing, the podcast where I interview entrepreneurs who started unusual businesses about how they made their wild ideas happen. Today, we're talking to Raj Shingadia, founder of Southeast Aquariums. Here's the wild idea: design and build stunning, one-of-a-kind aquariums for homes and organizations. I wanted to talk to Raj because his story is such an awesome example of turning a hobby he was passionate about into a successful business. I know it's something that many of us dream of doing, and I wanted to know, how did he do it? Stay tuned to hear how Raj started with a side hustle selling coral that he grew in his basement, how he moved forward after losing everything in the financial crisis, and how he found himself building sets for Marvel's Black Panther. Enjoy the conversation. So I have read that when you first started out, always wanted to be an attorney. And at some point you realized you would not be happy being in the law profession. But what I don't know is at what point and why did you decide that?
It was very late in the game, my entire life, right? I was only given two options of what I was allowed to be when I grew up, a doctor or an attorney. And I thought, okay, the legal profession is what I like. That's what I love. I'm going to do that. And everything, forever. That's all I talked about. That's what I was studying. And I loved it. And I was great at it. Like any type of mock trial, forget about it. That was where I thrived, right? So this was before Suits was a thing. And the character Harvey, how he is in court, that was my style. And that's who I wanted to be before Harvey was Harvey.
Yeah.
I had a really good professor that told me that a law career isn't going to be what I think it's going to be, right? No matter how great I think I am, or maybe how great I am, I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to do all of the work that I hate doing. And even then, there's no guarantee that I become this all-star trial attorney that in my head that I think I'm going to be. And so I really thought about that, and it's like, the reality of a law career doesn't sit well with me. I don't think I'm going to enjoy this. Sure, the money prospect was great, but I had a brief moment where I thought happiness is a little bit more important than money.
And it sounds like what you thought might make you not happy is realizing that it wasn't this glamorous trial experience. It was the drudgery of starting out that felt like it was not exciting.
I don't mind the starting, right? That part is great. Starting, building, that struggle, all of that I'm good with. It's being stuck doing all the stuff that attorneys do every single day that's not exciting, right? Even the big attorneys, every day is not exciting for them. You might get a few trials where you get to really go into court and show off those skills and wear your fancy suit and have some swagger, but your everyday is not that. And that was the part that really started weighing on me. And I thought, I'm going to be miserable. And if I continue down this path, I'm stuck. I can't change after that. And yeah, so I decided that I'm not going to do it. And I made the dreadful call to my mom.
How did that go?
It was the worst call I think I've ever made. She was crying because I let her down. I disappointed her to the highest degree. I'm not going to be this attorney that I always thought and always said I was going to be. But worse, I had no idea what I was going to do and what I was going to be. So that was like just rubbing salt in the wounds, as I had zero game plan after that.
And this was before law school, correct?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
then what do you do next? You hang up that phone. You say, Mom, I don't know what's next. What is the next step that you take to decide what that thing might be?
It's just taking steps at that point, because I really truly had no idea what I was going to do and what was going to make me happy. I was always entrepreneurial throughout, even in elementary school. I was the kid selling gum to other kids, and just anything, any way that I could make some money, that's what I was doing. So it was always in me, and I knew that was probably going to be the path. And I went through and did just all kinds of different random things and didn't love any of them. Obviously, I loved part of things, right? I loved accomplishing certain things. So if I completed a task, that gives me some satisfaction. But ultimately, nothing made me happy. And I thought commercial real estate would make me happy because it was exciting and it was big. And I thought I would be great at it. And it was not fun. I hated every minute of it. That was the one thing that really kicked me and said, you need to do something else.
And at the point when you start to discover aquariums in a hobby perspective, what is your day job? What does your career look like at that point in your life?
So I was always into aquariums. I got really hardcore into them in college and had a reef tank in my apartment. And that was always a thing for me. So when I started working after college and started making money and I'm looking for houses, I wanted a huge aquarium in there. I said, this is going to be the thing. It's going to be the focal point of my house. And I hired various companies to do it. And I bought equipment from all the different manufacturers throughout the US, Germany, Italy. Anybody that was making great equipment, I was trying their equipment. I was buying it. And I just wasn't happy with anything. But still, in the back of my mind, this was never a career option for me. It was just a hobby.
You're working in commercial real estate at the time.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is just a hobby that you have,
Yep.
but you are going deep into this hobby.
Oh, I'm deep.
Now, you're deep in there. So let me understand, is this your personality? Have you always been someone who goes that deep?
I have a very huge fatal flaw that no matter what it is, I'm going down that rabbit hole. I am reading everything possible. I'm diving into everything and I want to learn it all. I struggle to just dip my toe into something. If I'm going in, it's deep end all the way.
It's all in.
It's all
So this
in.
is your personality to begin with.
It
You
is.
fall in love with aquariums, so watch out.
Yes.
What is an example of how deep you were getting as a hobbyist at that point?
Oh gosh, this started in college. I was building my own equipment. So I started off with lighting. There's only so much trouble I can get in with playing with electronics and wiring in a college apartment, right? And just escalated from there where I started tinkering with other filtration technologies. I was growing out corals in my basement and supplying those to various stores and other hobbyists.
Ah, okay. So there was a transition from hobbyist to, it sounds like a bit of a side hustle.
Was
You're selling some things here.
This is an expensive hobby. How can I justify this? Like all these aquariums, all this equipment that I have, how can I offset the expenses? And so that was that entrepreneurial side of me kicking in saying, why don't you grow stuff out? Why don't you build this? And yeah, so I started dipping my toe a little bit, but nothing super serious. It was just a cover.
Okay, so you have to pay for this expensive hobby.
Yeah.
You're just as a side hustle to pay for things, selling this coral. What is the moment when you start to feel the inkling of it could be more?
I had never intended for this, right? I just didn't see it. And I was wrong because there are people now that started growing corals at the same time I did that have phenomenal businesses doing just that. And had I kept on that path, I would have been one of those guys. But it just really wasn't an option for me. And it wasn't until the 08-09 collapse. The markets, real estate, it all came tumbling down. I'm in commercial real estate. I'm heavily leveraged and the rug pull comes. I was out of everything. Career gone, all my money gone, investments gone, you name it, it's just wiped out. I was so far wiped out. I was looking, you know how you have random change in every drawer and little boxes and in your sofa cushions, under the mat in your car. I'm gathering all of that up and taking it to the grocery store to put in the Coinstar machine so I can buy groceries. That was the wipeout moment to where now I'm back to that point where I have to make a decision. What do I do? And it was at that point I thought, let me give this a real shot, right? Because I was, like you said, a side hustle. I had just a little bit going on here and there, but decided to go all in.
Wow, so there is a lot of urgency then to figure out what is next, what is going to bring in income. How are you thinking about the potential options and potential paths that you could take to get your footing back at that point?
My mind's running. I'm thinking, okay, I can get at least 2 jobs, maybe 3, and I can sustain. I make sure I don't lose my house. That was the biggest thing for me. Cannot lose this house. The funny thing was I had a lot of offers until the collapse, and then everything tightened up. And so I thought, okay, now this is going to be a lot harder than it should have been. But with what I am doing, I can survive for 4 years. I gave myself 4 years. I said, if I can't make this aquarium thing viable in 4 years, I have to really quit and go get a job, right? I can't be my own boss. I'm not good at it.
What is the vision for what this aquarium business can be on that day zero when you said, I think you could do this? What is this that you have in mind?
It was two parts of it, right? So it's the aquarium design and installation and service. So like the companies that I hired to set up and build my home aquarium, but do it better. And then the second part of that is it corresponds to the doing it better is on the filtration equipment side, better filtration equipment. My business partner and we sat there and did a lot of R&D. I had some ideas, we explored them. I went into the science part of it. His expertise was in actually building the stuff. And together we were able to come through and come up with some filtration that ended up being spectacular. And convincing people it was spectacular was a different story, but we knew that it was great.
What made you think this is something that I want to at least try? You're bringing out a partner. What makes you decide that it should graduate out of side hustle if it can?
I had nothing else going on at that time, and it was my opportunity to do something that I just truly loved. And I thought to myself, these other things I've done, they've worked out, they haven't worked out, but this is something that I just truly love. What if I can make this thing work? What if I can make a great living doing something that I just absolutely enjoy doing? And every day that I went into work, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I loved going in the morning and I loved thinking about it when I'm not there. I still do. It's kind of a disease.
A wonderful disease to have. What was your goal in starting this? What did you envision that if this worked, your life would become?
I don't know if I really had that vision per se. I just thought I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can make it viable enough.
Yeah.
That was really it. I had bigger aspirations for the real estate side. And I thought for this side, let me just be happy doing something and let it be enough.
So what is the point in that journey when you feel like you are accomplishing that goal? Was there a particular day or a moment when you said, oh my God, it's happening?
There was. There was a particular moment where I was struggling to sell this item and I really couldn't figure out why my marketing and my sales pitch wasn't working. As I was talking about how the materials are better, so it's a better quality product. The technology is better. The warranty is better. Everything was better. And I competed on price. It's even priced competitively. And nobody was biting. And it really took me a while to think about why that was. Like, it seemed like a no-brainer that you're getting everything that you would want, a better product, better quality, better warranty, better tech for the same price. What is the objection? And it occurred to me that it might just be that the price doesn't align with the marketing of the product, right? If it is better quality, if it's better materials, if it's better technology, better service, then the price needs to reflect that. And so I came in one morning and I said, we're going to raise the price. And I raised it by 47%. I don't remember where that number came from, but it was very specific. I must have ran the numbers that night. Raised the price, and now it was a premium price product where it should be, right? We're actually profitable at that. The initial price was, can I get some market share and then get to profitability? This pricing was, now I have profit in the product. And immediately I started getting calls back and I started getting inquiries like, ooh, I'm interested. Tell me more. And that was the point where I said, ooh, I think I've got it.
Ah, what was it about that point that felt like it was a really special milestone or turning point in the business for you?
I think it was just realizing that I missed on the psychology and that luckily I realized it. And when I corrected it, I was right because everybody else in the office thought that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We can't sell it at this price and you want to raise the price? Everybody else thought maybe we should go lower. And I thought, no, let's go higher. And I looked like the crazy guy at that point, but I ended up being right. One of the very few moments I'm right.
I doubt that is true. It sounds like part of what was a milestone there is your confidence, right? Of knowing that you had made this right decision and knowing that you could make many right decisions to come, and also understanding your customer and feeling their demands. I'm going to fast forward to more recent decisions. Your business has expanded enormously since. One of the biggest from the outside perceived changes or new directions is going into movie set design. So I want to hear about how that came about. How did you decide to take your business in that direction among the many different tentacles you've now expanded into?
That was just opportunity. That was when Bobby Jindal had reneged on the tax breaks out in Louisiana. North Carolina, they had done the same thing. And Georgia said, we'd love to give you a tax break if you bring your movies here. And so as soon as Georgia announced their tax breaks, we thought, hey, why don't we throw our name out there? We have some capabilities in manufacturing. Let's just put something out there. And I would have to just sell my way through it. And this is where the confidence comes in. Some will call it something else other than confidence, but I just thought to myself, why not? There's nobody else here that can do what they need doing in the film industry, right? So the pitch was to work between the director, the art department, and the construction department. So set design, building the sets, things like that. Because the studios want to build more sets in reality rather than using special effects and do it in all digital like that. They want more physical sets. And they can do overlaying of graphics on that. And that seems to be a lot easier for them to do rather than building it all out digitally.
So when you say set design, I was picturing that this was a Venn diagram with your aquarium business, and these were aquariums and set design. It sounds like this is far more wide-reaching than that. What is the scope of the set design that you now cover in this part of your business?
Again, nowhere near what we thought we were going to do, but Black Panther, for instance, his spaceship. So we worked on his spaceship. We did his sister Shuri, her lab, just so many different things. And lots of other Marvel movies, some DC projects, some aquarium stuff, but mostly not.
So what state is your core aquarium business in when you decide that it's time to branch out into something that's entirely different from that?
We're grooving. We're doing well. Everything's running smooth. And this was just an opportunity that came up, and we, I don't know, thought we'd jump on it. And I wasn't sure if anything was really going to happen with it, but I thought, why not? We have certain level of manufacturing and expertise. Can I leverage that? Can I BS my way through talking with these art directors and directors to say, sure, we could do all of that? And it's to look at their set design and say, hey, we can build this, or we can change this. If you change this on your storyboard, then it can be built in reality. And then working with their construction department on what they're going to build, what we're going to build, how we're going to collaborate together. And we ended up carving a very specific niche in that market while they were here. And Marvel's gone now, right? They booked it to the UK, so all the Marvel films are gone. Netflix still does a couple of things. I think Netflix was one of our first customers.
So your aquarium business at this point is well out of the startup phase. Things are grooving. You are an entrepreneur in your personality. Are you starting to itch for something new at this point? I'm wondering if part of the decision to go into the movies was about a personal desire to do something new, given that things are sailing pretty well with what's existing on your plate.
I don't know if I would put it at new, but it was more just like a different revenue stream.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? To diversify.
That does.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you used the word opportunistic a few times, which I like. Always on the hunt for what these new opportunities were. So less about sitting with a spreadsheet and a plan for financial diversification, more about there's something new that's cool. I have the confidence and capabilities. Let me jump on that thing.
Exactly. And I thought it would be cool. And it was cool. We had a lot of fun doing it. It was stressful. I walked into some amazing meetings with some amazing directors and producers. And yeah, it was fantastic. I enjoyed every minute of it. And I have cool stories now with my kids. Oh, yeah, Stranger Things. I built that. I designed that. Right. So it is cool.
Is that still a meaningful part of your portfolio? What does your portfolio look like today?
As we got busier on the aquatic side, we actually started turning down a lot of the movie jobs, and which wound that business down. And then it just naturally faded out as the studios started moving out of Georgia and they started bringing in their own staff. And we knew, I always knew it, eventually they're going to bring that, all of what we do in-house anyway, just like they did in LA. That there was a sunset period to that business. So it was, like I said, it was an opportunity I thought we could jump on and take advantage of while we can. And let's do it while we can, while it's fun, while it's profitable. And then when it's not, we move on.
So let's look back in retrospect now. If I was able to talk to that Raj who was first getting on that call with his mom and saying, I don't want to be a lawyer, but I don't know what's next. If I could tell him what you're doing today, what do you think would surprise him most about the things that you're doing now?
I mean, all of it.
Yeah.
It's completely crazy. If you would have told me that I'm going to work on Black Panther that goes on to make $1 billion in the box office, I would tell you are out of your mind. That's never going to happen. Some of the aquariums that I've worked on and for who I've worked with, just all of it. If you would have told me that I can do extraordinarily well selling aquariums, that alone I would have told you you're out of your mind. In fact, if you tell anybody, that's usually the reaction that I get, and you can see it in their eyes. When I tell them what my business is, they're shocked and they're like, wait, what? And then I can see the wheels turning, thinking, oh my God, that's actually a thing. And then the second part, you actually make money doing that? It's this evolution of thoughts where they're going, never thought about that. That's the craziest thing ever.
Yep. I had the same thought, I have to admit. But it sounds like what I'm learning from talking to you, among many things, it's not that the lesson is, hey, anyone can just jump into aquariums and make a lot of money. Who knew that this was a huge place? It is, you are someone who had such a deep passion and a well-honed expertise because of that passion in this space to be able to see the personal problems that were there. And then the confidence to say, hey, no one else is going to solve these. I'm going to solve these. And that confidence repeated throughout your career in finding new opportunities to take on.
Oh, definitely. It's not as easy as people think. There's science, there's biology, right? But there's a lot of art involved with it too, if you want it to look a certain way.
Yeah. So you've already done so many things, expanded your business in so many ways. What is in the near-term horizon for you that you're most excited about?
There's some projects. So I've been working on this for over 5 years now, leveraging what I do right now and what we make and our technology, but again, going outside of the scope. And what I was looking for is how else can I apply what we do, right? What markets can we serve? So instead of expanding our operations horizontally, how can we go vertical? Like, how can we just continue to do what we do, but do it for a different market? And that is really exciting. And we made a lot of different attempts at different markets and to see, does it apply? And you go in thinking, okay, this might apply, and it doesn't. Or it does, but it's just not viable as a business. And I think within the next couple of years, what I'm working on right now will be very exciting, and we'll have a different conversation then.
Okay, I get the sense from how you're caging that answer that you're not ready to share what that vertical is.
I cannot share what it is right now. 2 reasons. One, I'm big on the whole jinxing thing. I don't want to talk about it and jinx it.
Fair enough. Fair
right?
enough.
Because then I'll start publishing things how Dana jinxed my idea.
Don't throw me under the bus. I don't want that responsibility. I understand. So this new place that you're going into, whatever it is, and we're not going to say what it is this also something where you're having that same mindset that you had for the movie set design of let's be opportunistic and jump on things? Or are you approaching this with kind of a different way of decision making?
It's a blend, right? One of it is the opportunity to say, hey, this is risky, right? Let's stick our necks out. Let's put some investment towards it. And let's go for it. I think I am very confident on it. I'm very much the mindset that I will make it happen. I don't know how, but I will make it happen. I'm just going to keep going and keep doing.
And is that something that you were doing from the very beginning of this business, or was there a milestone at which you had enough success that you could start to put some things into R&D and future-looking opportunities, bigger risks like you're doing today?
I was always the risk taker. I always
Okay.
swung for those fences, and sometimes you miss and it hurts. But yeah, that's just always been my personality. You go for it.
That was Raj Shingadia talking about his journey building Southeast Aquariums. Here are my 3 favorite lessons from that episode and why they stood out to me. 1, just take steps. When Raj decided he didn't want to be a lawyer, he really had no idea what he wanted to do next. So he just started taking steps. When Raj lost his job and his savings and the commercial real estate collapse and he wasn't sure what to do next, he just started taking steps. I love that quote from him, just take steps. The idea that the only way forward is to start moving, and even if you don't quite know where you're going yet, just by moving and doing, you'll start to get ideas and inspiration that will shape your plan. 2, go deep on what you love. Raj turned a hobby he was passionate about into a successful business. The ingredients that I hear from him about what it takes to turn a hobby into a business are going so deep in that hobby that you develop an extreme level of expertise. Deep enough that you see the problems that exist. Deep enough that you develop the skills to solve those problems. Deep enough that you're entrenched in the community and you know who your customers are and how to sell to them when you have a product ready. 3, give yourself a timeline. When Raj first started his aquarium business, he said he was giving himself 4 years to make it work or get another job because that's what his resources would allow for. Having a timeline can do a few helpful things for you. It can create urgency for you to move more quickly to make things work. It can give you peace of mind that if things are not working immediately, you still have time to pivot, iterate, and to make things succeed. And it can also give you an out. You're not signing up to tackle an impossible task forever. You've already made a contract with yourself that if things aren't working out in X amount of time, you'll move on. This is Dana Moriello, and I can't wait to see you next week on This Is a Thing.